welcome to HITC Sport. Right, today I'm going to look at every Premier League club and find one current player who would have thrived under a different manager. Basically, the one player you'd love to see link up with another manager. Most of you will probably hate this idea, as I'm literally tipping your player for another manager. So disrespectful. It's like me trying to set up your missus with my pal Fred who runs a bookshop. You probably want to punch me in the face. But anyway, let's get on with it. Arsenal, Mesut Ozil, Manuel Pellegrini. Look lads, Mesut Ozil has wasted the prime years of his career. I'm sorry, but he has. Ever since leaving Real Madrid, he's been getting away with murder. He's gone down the same route as Conor McGregor. No, he's not smashing up buses and punching the elderly, but still, it was that fat payday which ruined his hunger and drive. £400,000 a week to turn up once every 6 games? You've heard of Where's Wally? Every game is like Where's Ozil, just hiding behind the corner flag. But he also hasn't been used right. Half the time Arsene Wenger used to chuck him on the bastard left wing. Does he look like a left winger to you? He's about as slow as Deji in an egg and spoon race. Manuel Pellegrini has used playmakers all his life. Andres D'Alessandro at River Plate, Juan Roman Riquelme at Villarreal, Santi Cazorla at Malaga, Kaká at Real Madrid, David Silva at Man City. This fella probably tosses himself off in the shower to the very prospect of number 10s. How's that for a good mental image? Give Ozil a manager who salivates over his position like Big Sam in a pie shop. Have Pellegrini build a team around him, and good Christ, he'd be electric. Aston Villa, Matt Targett, Jose Mourinho. You know who would be a perfect fit at Villa? Jack Grealish and Stephen Kenny. Why, Jack? Why? But no, today I'm not going to pick Jack Grealish for Villa. I realise there is more to Aston Villa than that big tub of unloyal grease. Instead, I'm going to go with Matt Targett. Dean Smith has said there's a potential England left back. Is he balls? Not unless he finds himself a top class manager who's going to push him. We've seen what Jose Mourinho can do to big name English left backs. You either succeed or he crushes your confidence like a coke can. Target under Mourinho would be a risk. Yes, he could just spend a year crying in the toilets, but if he rose to the challenge, let's just say Mourinho has a history of elevating players above their actual level. Bournemouth, Ryan Fraser, Jurgen Klopp. You're probably going to think I'm insane. Jurgen Klopp wanting Ryan Fraser is about as realistic as Paul Gascoigne ordering a glass of tap water. But lads, hear me out. Fraser is one of the hardest working footballers in England. He never stops running. Always near the top of the Premier League sprint charts. If you think Fraser is too unfashionable for Liverpool, Andy Robertson was relegated at Hull. Sadio Mane was a 10-goal a season mid-table player at Southampton. Now they're two of the best footballers on the planet. Give him 2 seasons of starting week in, week out under Jurgen Klopp, and Fraser would be a 15-goal a season star. Brighton, Glenn Murray, Sam Allardyce. Let's be honest, Glenn Murray has gone through his entire career playing for the likes of Gus Poyet, Eddie Howe, Chris Hughton, mostly ball-playing managers. Oh, give him Sam Allardyce and this man would be a different beast entirely. A big elbow-flinging 6-foot lump of meat. A bruising journeyman workhorse striker who probably fantasizes about drinking the blood of his defenders. Sam Allardyce would probably marry him in the morning. Give Big Sam a big, awkward, ugly orc of a centre forward, and he can turn them into one of the most efficient strikers in the country. Kevin Davies, Jason Roberts, Andy Carroll. Give Murray's peak years to Sam Allardyce, and he'd have played for England. Burnley, Ben Mee, Fabio Capello. An uncompromising British centre half. Step forward, Mr. Ben Mee. This guy is the epitome of 100% all-out defending. A born and bred defender would probably sneeze blood if he ever dared to venture into the opposition's half. Fabio Capello has worked with some of the best defenders to ever live. Capello is like a 5 times upgraded version of Sean Dyche. So give me just a season under the former England boss, and this fellow will be knocking on the England squad for Euro 2021. Chelsea, Jorginho, Carlo Ancelotti. Jorginho has the capabilities to be one of the best midfielders in world football, and to think he spent last season being booed by Chelsea fans. Do they not realise how lucky they are to have him? This is a guy who turned down Man City and Pep Guardiola for you. It's like somehow convincing a supermodel to marry you, and then you just spend your first year of marriage chucking beer cans at her head. We all know Maurizio Sarri is the perfect manager for this guy. He even wants him for Juventus. Those two have been inseparable throughout their careers. They don't really know how to live without each other. They're a bit like Jedward. For Christ's sake, those fellas probably haven't gone to the toilet on their own since 2010. But Carlo Ancelotti would be even better for him. A deep line playmaker, or registra in hipster speak. He plays the same role as Andrea Pirlo, an Italian midfield genius who pulled the strings in 2 Champions League winning AC Milan teams under Ancelotti. Crystal Palace, Wilfried Zaha, Kevin Keegan. Put Wilfried Zaha and Kevin Keegan's team of entertainers. You know, that 90s Newcastle side with 100% attack-based philosophy. Zaha's flares, his tricks, his complete lack of a defensive bone in his body. He'd have been Keegan's David Ginola. Zaha is clearly a sensitive soul who needs an arm around his shoulder. Why do you think he stormed out of Old Trafford to return home after less than 2 years? That's why he stormed off to declare for the Ivory Coast after being forced to wait by Gareth Southgate. Keegan is one of the best man managers to ever live, who constantly made his players feel world class, even when they were Nicky But had Keegan been England manager, this guy would have been England's modern day reincarnation of Gaza. The Maverick skills, that is, not not being accused of groping women on trains. Not even sure David Moyes' daughter has a national rail pass. Everton, Jordan Pickford, Pep Guardiola. Yeah, you all think I'm insane. Wasting the Pep Guardiola pick on someone like Jordan Pickford, a guy who looks like his skull is filled with sawdust. But lads, Guardiola clearly frothes at the mouth over goalies who can kick the ball. It doesn't matter whether he can save it or not. If the keeper can't play a 60-yard pass with his eyes closed, Pep doesn't want to know him. He'd probably view an old-fashioned keeper like Shay Given the same way most of us would view Two Girls One Cup, i.e. vomiting in our hand. Pickford was linked with Man City in 2017. Give him someone like Pep Guardiola, and that is a potential Champions League winning goalkeeper. Leicester, Jamie Vardy, Sir Bobby Robson. Jamie Vardy seems to be a player who thrives on man management, and Sir Bobby Robson was a manager who loved goal scorers. I know this matchup is impossible considering when Sir Bobby died, Vardy was drinking paint at Stockbridge Park Steels, but it would have been immense. Sir Bobby, the master of man management, a guy who's coached Gary Lineker, Romario, Ronaldo, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Alan Shearer. God's sake, he was able to get the best out of Craig Bellamy, a fellow who probably popped out of the womb arguing with the doctor. Vardy, under the man management of Sir Bobby, he would have been utterly world class. Liverpool, Virgil van Dijk, Antonio Conte. Yeah, Virgil van Dijk almost linked up with Antonio Conte at Chelsea. If he had they would have been unstoppable. Conte is a man who prides himself on playing a ball-playing three-man defence. During the 16-17 season, he hoovered up 30 Chelsea wins and 93 goddamn points with David Luiz. He also had to twist big British lump Gary Cahill into a ball-playing Alessandro Nesta, which is about as easy as turning Meghan Trainor into a catwalk model. Give him Van Dijk, the best natural ball-playing defender in the world, and he'd be an even better player than he is now. Man City, Kevin De Bruyne, Arsene Wenger. Now, on the face of it, offer Kevin De Bruyne the chance to place his career in the hands of a guy who once thought Yaya Sanogo was a competent footballer, and he'd probably rather spend one night in an oven. But lads, peak Wenger was one of the most progressive managers in world football, and the talent he's nurtured in the centre of the park. Patrick Vieira, Cesc Fabregas, he even had Jack Wilshere playing like an English savvy. Given on-the-ball Wenger the best playmaker in world football, it would be an utter joy to watch. Man United, Marcus Rashford, Sir Alex Ferguson. This is the stuff of absolute wet dreams for Man United fans. Give Marcus Rashford, the club's biggest prospect in over 10 years, to Sir Alex Ferguson, arguably the greatest manager to ever live. Oh wow, Rashford is the type of striker begging for a world-class manager who actually believes in him. And Fergie has turned many a young striker brimming with potential into an utter world superstar. He sees the importance of goal scorers. Like I say, during his last season in charge, the main tactic was just getting the ball to Van Persie. Had Rashford been born 15 years earlier, he'd be one of the best English strikers of all time. Newcastle, Andy Carroll, Alan Shearer. Yeah, this is a weird one. You all forget, but Alan Shearer was actually a manager for 8 games, and he got relegated. But still, call me mental all you want, but I think if he had stayed on, Andy Carroll would have thrived. There's obvious similarities in these two guys' playing styles. Big, burly Newcastle number 9 target men who could thump them in. Don't forget, within 10 days of Shearer's managerial appointment in April 2009, Carroll was scoring his second ever goal, allowing him the guidance to play under a local legend. Do you really think Shearer would have stood for him spending every weekend down the big market, chucking his potential and promise in a blender? I mean, who was going to deter him? Alan Pardew? He was probably joining him. If Shearer had been around long enough to knock some sense into this kid, he could have been the best Newcastle centre forward in years. Instead of being a washed up 30-year-old grass stain on Steve Bruce's bench, Norwich, Todd Cantwell, Roberto Martinez. Todd Cantwell is a creative ball-playing midfielder. Roberto Martinez, the manager of Belgium, would probably have loved this kid. This is a guy who's got the best out of Jordi Gomez, Ross Barkley, Kevin De Bruyne. Under Martinez, Cantwell will be an England star. Sheffield United, John Egan, Diego Simeone. Yeah, well this is pretty selfish. Okay, so I want an Ireland centre half to play under Diego Simeone. Arguably the best defensive coach on planet Earth. Sure, in all likelihood, Simeone would like John Egan in his defence as much as he'd like an ulcer in his mouth. But still, I think were he forced to use him under penalty of death, Egan would be the best Irish defender since Richard Dunn. Southampton, Sofiane Boufal, Claude Puel. Talk to a Leicester fan and they'll tell you that Claude Puel is the most rigid manager who crushes any semblance of flair and creativity. Oh yeah? Then explain Hatem Ben Arfa, who played the best stuff of his career under Puel at Nice. 18 goals in 37 games. Oh yeah, really stifling creativity, isn't he? Boufal is a similarly inconsistent but technically brilliant winger. I think Puel would have loved him. Tottenham, Giovanni Lo Celso, Marcelo Bielsa. Giovanni Lo Celso has the potential to be a world-class footballer, but he needs freedom to express himself. So good luck under Jose Mourinho, Gio. Give him Marcelo Bielsa, a man who doesn't really believe in positions, and he'd be perfect. Bielsa's Athletic Bilbao team, the players were floating all over the pitch. When he was at Marseille, Dimitri Payet used to play anywhere across the front line. Just literally anywhere. Afford Lo Celso a license to roam, a freedom on the pitch, playing for a guy born in his hometown of Rosario, and you're looking at a Ballon d'Or contender. Watford, Troy Deeney, Tony Pulis. Look, I'm not saying any human being needs to see Troy Deeney and Tony Pulis together. It's about as attractive a prospect as if Melissa McCarthy was cast in Titanic.
Paint me like one of your French girls.
I would, but you don't fit on the f***ing page. Pulis wanted Deeney at West Brom. I bet he did.
Pulis, I'm a Deeney fan.
A Bruges, unconventional, snarling centre forward. Pulis probably has a Deeney poster above his bed. West Ham, Philippe Anderson, Zinedine Zidane. Philippe Anderson is a technically brilliant footballer, and so letting him spend his peak years stuck in a team coached by David Moyes, it's like giving a pair of Jordan Ayres to Oscar Pistorius. It's a bit of a waste. Most players, if you take them out of West Ham and give them to Real Madrid, they'll be so hideously out of their depth they'll just fall asleep on the bench. But some players need a big club, an actual team on the front foot, who spend the entire game camped in the opposition's half. Some of them need those sort of teams to excel in. Zinedine Zidane would take Philippe Anderson to the next level. Wolves, Raul Jimenez, Rafa Benitez. Raul Jimenez is the exact type of centre forward Rafa Benitez absolutely loves. Big, strong in the air, physical presence, excellent at holding up the ball, and even better shooting with it. Jimenez is essentially a massive upgrade on Salomon Rondon, a guy who Rafa spent the last 2 years trying to build two teams around. Put these two together and Jimenez would challenge for the Golden Boot. Anyway, that's anything, lads. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.